Hare Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So this mantra that we just chanted, most of you know this, but it's interesting to know the origin of this mantra. This was first given, as much as we know from one of the Vedic scriptures, is that nearly 2 billion years ago that this mantra was given by Narada Muni to Dhruva Maharaj. So almost 2 billion years ago. So how do we calculate that? Is it was given during one of the first Manus, Swayambhuva Manu, and when you calculate it, it comes to almost 2 billion years ago. So this is not a mantra that somebody invented a few years ago in Scarborough or Brampton area. So this mantra has been there in existence. So all our great acharyas and towering intellects have chanted this mantra again and again and again. And this is also part of one of the very, very powerful mantras called as Narayana Kavacha, and this is part of that. And Srimad Bhagavatam, which we just, which contains about 18,000 verses, starts off with this particular verse, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, and for those of you who have got Shaligram Shila in your house, like some of us do, when you worship Shaligram Shila, this is one of the main mantras that we chant when you are offering worship to Shaligram Shila. So it's a very powerful, very short mantra, but it is very, very powerful. It was good that all of us vibrated in unison to get the maximum benefit out of this very, very powerful mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So it's an honor and privilege to be amongst all the wonderful devotees today. And we remember this wonderful house, I think last year as well when we were here. So we're very, very grateful to the host for inviting us and for opening the doors and opening your hearts as well. So let's put our hands together. Thank you, Prabhu. And we are also grateful to Amal Thakur Prabhu for making this happen. So he's our bridge between, Bangladeshi devotees and ISKCON as well. So I'd like to thank Prabhu. So we are very, very grateful again to be amongst the great devotees from Bangladesh. But as we know from other parts of the world, there has been great personalities or famous personalities from this great land of Bangladesh. One that we remember is Sheikh Mujibur Rahman.
Yes.
So he's very famous personality, famous person, and we are aware of him in India. And also, I think it was his daughter, Sheikh Ashina. So she is also very, very popular person, and she's done.
Tomorrow is our victory day.
Oh, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
So wonderful, wonderful. So it's all working out very well. So 16th of
Why
December.
don't you use that mic? Because this mic is...
Can we have
why don't try that?
the other one?
So we are all in a nice day, as religion and then political.
Yeah, both, right? So that's good to know. So tomorrow
Yes,
is a very important day as well. So you're all coming from the land of very famous people who are world renowned. We all hear about these great personalities. And for those of you who follow cricket, of course, we are all aware of great cricket players from the land of Bangladesh as well. How many of you follow cricket? All of you. So, you know all this great personality, Shakibul.
Turn off other mics.
No?
Turn off other mics.
So Shakibul Hasan and Mushtifikur Rahim, Murtaza, And you have great personalities from Bangladesh as well. They've been doing really well. They've been beating West Indies recently as well.
Yeah.
So, but more importantly, so we've heard some of these names, some of these great politicians, some of these great cricket players. But whether you're aware of or not, you have very strong roots in Vaishnavism. So you have you're coming from this great country of Bangladesh, which has produced great Vaishnavas. So from one of the famous cities, I may or may not be pronouncing your cities properly, but I apologize for that in advance. Sylhet.
Yes, that's right.
So Sylhet is one of those places where Lord Krishna's parents, when Lord Krishna appeared 532 years ago in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his parents, Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata, they both appeared in this place of Sylhet.
Yes.
How many of you knew that? Some of you knew that. So, is that not fascinating? Lord Krishna's parents, Lord Krishna in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his parents actually appeared in Sylhet in Bangladesh. So that's the root that you have. So it gives you the confidence, the spiritual confidence that you need, you get from that. And not only that, from same Sylhet, Advaita Acharya. So those of you who've been following Brahma Gaudiya Vaishnavism, we have this great Acharya by the name of Advaita Acharya. And he is not a normal personality. He's a combined incarnation of Mahavishnu and Sadasiva. So for the very first time, two of these great personalities came together, Mahavishnu and Sadasiva. The combined incarnation is Advaita Acharya. And where did he appear? Sylhet in Bangladesh. And it goes on, the list goes on and on and on. Srimati Radharani's father, Vrishabhanu, appeared in Chaitanya Leela as Pundarik Vidyanidhi. And Pundarik Vidyanidhi appeared in the city of Chittagong. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes.
Chittagong. So he appeared in Chittagong. And also there was one more great person. When we read Chaitanya Charitamrita, we get to know about this person by the name of Vasudev Datta. And this wonderful Acharya, in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he fell at the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's not different from Lord Krishna, and he said, "My dear Lord, I would like to take the sins of everybody in this whole world so that I perpetually stay in hell, whereas everybody can get promoted and go to Vaikuntha."
Wow.
What a heart somebody should have. And he's not saying for the sake of saying. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was overwhelmed in ecstasy when he heard this, where this person, this great personality is saying he would like to suffer perpetually in sin for everybody's sinful deeds, so that everybody will not have any sinful deeds left and they will be able to go back home, back to God.
Wonderful.
And this Vasudev Datta appeared in Chittagong, again in Bangladesh.
Very good.
And Haridas Thakur,
Yes.
Haridas Thakur is Namacharya. We all chant this holy name. Prabhu was singing this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and we chanted, Prabhu was singing for exactly, I think, about 20 to 25 minutes. And Haridas Thakur chants this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra for 20 hours every day. So he chanted, as we know, 300,000 names of Lord Krishna. So when we chant one Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, how many names of Krishna is there? When we say Krishna, how many names of God is there? Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, how many names of God is there?
16.
Actually 16. It's not just Krishna is the name of God, Rama is also name of God, and by the way, Hare is also name of God, because Hare is the vocative form of Hara, and Hara is Srimati Radharani, and Srimati Radharani is non-different from Lord Krishna. So our Acharya has explained that in the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra there are 16 names of God. So when we chant 16 rounds, it's 27,648 names of the Lord is being chanted in about 1.5 hours every day. If you're chanting 16 rounds, 27,648 names of Lord. Now, for you to get 300,000 names of the Lord, it comes to about 174 rounds per day. So that takes almost, you can say, most of the day to chant 300,000 names of the Lord. Now, where did Haridas Thakur, the Namacharya, chant 300,000 names of the Lord most of the time? In a place called Benapole. Benapole or Benapole?
Benapole.
Benapole.
Yeah.
So that is also in Bangladesh. So you see that roots that is there in Bangladesh. Haridas Thakur chanted 300,000 names of the Lord every day in Benapole in Bangladesh as well. And it goes on and on. There is this wonderful city called Yashore. Now, how do you pronounce that? Yashore. Like Yashore Mata. So, Yashore is a place where two of our other great acharyas by the name of Narottam Das Thakur. Narottam Das Thakur, some of you may have heard, some of you may not have heard his name, but you would have heard his song. Because when we hear a movie song, that movie song will be famous for 1 month, 2 months, 1 year. Some of these wonderful songs are famous for 2 years. Have you heard about some song that has been a massive hit and is being sung every day for the last 400 years?
Wow.
That's the author of one of the songs, that is the Sri Guru Charana Padma. So we sing that every day in all this, not just in ISKCON temples. So these are sung every day for the last 400 years. And who penned down this? Narottam Das Thakur. And where did he appear? Yashore. So Narottam Das Thakur, not only this wonderful bhajan, but also Jai Anilo Premadana. So when somebody leaves their body, this is a bhajan that is being sung. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama. That is also penned down by Narottam Das Thakur. So all these evergreen bhajans that has been famous for over 400 years was penned down by Narottam Das Thakur, and he appeared in Bangladesh. So I just wanted to give you the roots so that you know the spiritual roots of all of you, where you're coming from and what is the potency. It's not just you have great cricketers and great politicians who have done a lot of good things, but you're coming from the land where wonderful Vaishnavas appeared. And also Narottam Das Thakur's guru or a spiritual master, his name is Lokanath Goswami. He appeared in Yashore as well. So we can go on and on and on, but that gives you an idea of the great acharyas who appeared in this holy land of Bangladesh. So again, we'd like to thank each one of you for giving us your valuable time and for hearing about the glories of the Lord. So how do we hear? So what is the sense organ that helps us hear the glories of the Lord? Ears. So we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We want, we should be hearing more than speaking, right? So now, just when we think about, we have many other sense organs like eyes and, tongue and touch, sense of touch, etc. But ears are such unique ones where if a person, you would have heard this before, if a person is sleeping, sound asleep in the night, and the house is actually on fire, the house is on fire and he doesn't feel it. Technically, when somebody feels that it's really hot, it's too late, right? It's too late for him to escape when it is when he's already feeling that intense heat of fire in the house. But when this person is sound asleep, if we take if somebody comes there and they write in a sheet of paper the word fire and they show it to me here and I'm sleeping here, will that have any impact? No. It could be dark, I'm closing the eyes, I'm sleeping. So what if somebody's got a big LED sign from there and showing fire? Will that help? No, it's not going to help at all. What if they take a biggest banner, like you saw in West Indies versus Bangladesh cricket game a couple of days ago, they have these huge banners. What if somebody's got a big banner and have the flame coming, it's like a picture of a flame coming and they show fire? Will that have any impact? No. But if there is a fire alarm that we can hear through our ears, then automatically, suddenly, the sleeping person will wake up and run out, correct? Or if somebody is shouting from there, fire! Then he will wake up and then he'll run away. So it doesn't matter whether the sign is shown, small sign, big sign, LED sign, doesn't matter, it's not going to have any impact. But the usefulness of the ear. So we hear and then we act on what we are hearing is what saves us, at least in this material world. So I just heard this joke where the husband and wife were having some sort of fight. and they were giving silent treatment. You know what is silent treatment? They don't talk to each other, right? So it's all of us would have gone through that, right? Some of us more than others. So the silent treatment was going on. They didn't want to talk to each other, and nobody wants to be the first person to say, okay, I'm sorry, and talk. So, but then in that house there was only one alarm, and that alarm was not working. But you know, men and women, you know, Matajis wake up earlier than Prabhus in general, right? Is that a fair statement?
Yes, yes.
So what he did was he didn't want to ask his wife, please wake me up, you know, at 5 o'clock because he's got a flight to catch. So what he did was he wrote in a sheet of paper, please wake me up at 5 o'clock. Okay, and then he left it in the place where his wife can see. So his wife saw that, and she didn't talk or confirm that she will wake him up. And then he went to sleep, and then he wakes up in the morning. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, and he misses the flight. And then as he's turning in the bed, there is a slip of paper. It's 5 o'clock already, please get up. So he didn't wake up. So just coming back to this point, when a person is sleeping and when there is fire, we show any sign, doesn't matter, he's not going to save himself. Similarly, this person who's sleeping did not benefit from this note that was put in the bed, please wake up. But if somebody had told him, wake up, or if there's an alarm, then he would have woken up, right? So we hear and take action accordingly, then we will be saved. Also, we heard this devastating fire in California. Never in the history of California was such devastating impact on the state. Actually, I've been to those places. Some of you would have been to those places, Malibu, and there is a small place called Paradise. Nothing is there. It's totally gone. But the good news is, not or almost, there were only very few deaths. I mean, no death should happen, but compared to the devastating impact of the fire, very few people died. Why? They again heard in the news and all the warning with their ears, fire is coming, get out from here. Okay, so in Malibu, they left their Lamborghinis and Porsche and other cars. Some of them have got 10 cars. How many cars can they take and go, right? So they lost the property, they lost their beautiful house. How can they take the $15 million house and go anywhere? So they lost the property, but money comes and goes, and property you can get it, but if your life is gone, everything is gone, right? So they were able to save themselves from this fire. We just talked about the house on fire and this person being shown a sign doesn't matter, but when he hears it, he wakes up and runs. Similarly, the people in California, especially in Southern California, close to Los Angeles, Malibu and Paradise, they heard this warning and they were able to leave the city and save themselves. So many of them have come back and they're getting back what they lost. But if they lost their life, everything is gone, right? So we need to hear and then act accordingly. So here I heard about this person as well. This old man, he was having some problem in hearing. All of us will have this problem at some point, right? So this person is having hearing problem. He's almost deaf. And then he goes to the doctor and the doctor says, you know what? I have some great news for you, okay? I'm going to fit in this almost invisible hearing aid in your ears and you will have no problem in hearing. I said, really? That's not possible. You know, I'm old and how can this work? This may work for some younger person. He said, no. I've already tested your ear for so many years. You know that. Okay, I'm going to do one last checkup, but I know it will work for you. He puts that almost invisible. That means others can't see that there is a hearing aid. You got to really go deeper and see. So he was wearing this hearing and then he just drops literally a pin. The doctor drops a pin and he's able to hear that. And he turns and he hears that. So the doctor is so happy, this old man is so happy that he's able to hear wonderfully well. This is like unbelievable for him. So he goes home and then 1 month he doesn't come back to the doctor, but the doctor said come back after a month. So after a month, this old man who can hear now very well, even a pin is dropping, he can hear that. So he comes back to the doctor and the doctor said, so you should be really happy, but more than you, your entire family should be really happy, right? Because what happens if there's an old person at home, when you say come for dinner, he's just sitting, he can't hear us, right? So it's a little bit of a challenge for the people at home too, when somebody who can't hear. So here the doctor saying your relative should be more ecstatic and happier than you, right? He said, I don't know about that. I have not told anybody that I can hear so very well. I just sit around whole day and hear all my relatives talk, and I've already changed the will 3 times. So he's just hearing they're talking about him, this man, when is he going to die? I can get his money and everything. But he can hear, they think that he can't hear. So he's acting based on what he's hearing. So it's many words in this material life also has got more power than other words. When we say carpet, sure, it doesn't have that much impact. Fire, that's got an impact.
Right.
Samosa, right? So when we are really hungry, that does something to us, right? Gulab jamun, right? So it does something to us. Some material words have got this power. When somebody is drinking the milk, you say poison, then it's got that impact. So material words, many of them have got so much of impact. Now let's get into the next part of it. So our scriptures teach us that spiritual names and spiritual words and spiritual instructions have got so much potency that it will save us permanently. Now, when somebody says fire, it will save us temporarily, and we will have to die and come back again, as we know from Bhagavad-Gita. We'll talk about it in the next few minutes. But it is said that the spiritual words, spiritual names, spiritual instructions that we read from the scriptures will save us permanently. The question is how? What's the difference between material words and the spiritual words? Now, if we talked about a couple of politicians, right? So we talked about Sheikh Hasina and maybe any of the current prime ministers and president. Shall we use the word Trump or no? No? Okay. So, say for example, if you are very close to Justin Trudeau, right? Or the police chief in the Toronto area, you have that confidence that you are safer, right? Like police chief is your very good friend. If you're connected with the most powerful person, then you're protected. If you're connected with the most wealthiest person, the CEO of Apple, then you get what you want. So similarly, our scriptures teach us that when we get connected to the holy name, we are getting connected to the Supreme Lord itself, and the Lord has got everything. So he's got the maximum wealth, unlimited wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. So the CEO of Apple has got limited wealth, which is much more, it looks like unlimited from our standpoint, right? But still it is limited what they have. And it is said that when we get connected through the names, which is non-different, it is said, Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasavigraha Purna Suddho Nityamukto Binatva Nama Namina. So there is no difference between God and God's name. And the Lord has appeared in this age of Kali through his holy name. Kali Kale Nama Rupa Krishna Avatar Nama Haite Hayasarva Jagat Nishtar. So there is no difference. And Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON, has repeatedly told us that, instructed us that when we say Coke, when keep on saying Coke, 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 your thirst will not go away, right? Has anybody tried that? If you're really thirsty, if you keep saying Coke, 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 will your thirst be quenched? No, because the word and the actual impact is different. It's not the same. But the scriptures teach us, and our founder Acharya teaches us that when we say the name Krishna or Rama or Srimati Radharani's name, it is not different from them. So that is why we are directly connected with them, and then we get everything material as well as spiritual. So we get that. So we are connected, just like we are connected with the president or the prime minister or the richest man or the police chief, and we get the protection and everything that we need. That is temporary, limited, but when we get connected to the holy names, it's unlimited. So we get this permanent prevention of problems that we all go through, which is Adhyatmika, Adhibhautika, Adhidevika miseries. Miseries caused by body and mind, miseries caused by other living entities, miseries caused by natural calamities. We just talked about this California. So that is Adhidevika miseries, right? How many of you go through this challenges of the body and mind?
All of us. All of us.
Are you, everybody agrees? We have problems with our body and mind, right? Even if we don't have a problem with our own, we have problem with the mind, but it may not be with our own circumstance. It could be, oh, my daughter went to college, it's 6 o'clock, I have not seen her. What happened to her? So you will always have this stress, which is problems caused by body and mind, and also problems caused by other living entities. So which is your neighbor, dogs biting, barking, you know, when you're going in the night shift, you're trying to sleep during the day and the dog keeps on barking, right? Or somebody ringing the bell, somebody calling, advertisements calling you, right? So these are all miseries caused by other living entities, and we talked about miseries caused by natural calamities, right? So we'll have to go through that, but it is said that when we get connected to the Lord's name with our ears and also hear the pastimes of the Lord, then not only this life will be, problem free or very, very limited. We will still have problems. It's not that we will not have problems. Why is that? Can Krishna not take away all our problems? We are all devotees. Why do we still have problems? Anybody? Krishna can do anything, right? So why can't he take away all our problems and have a wonderful life going forward?
It's because of our karma. Karma is
Krishna can take away our karma like this.
But we'll forget him if we don't have any problem.
You know, when you get so much trouble, then you will think about the Lord, yes?
Yes, so that is one
Because
good
my
point. So,
endeavor, I cannot do anything.
how many times we think of God when we are happy?
That's what I'm saying. We'll
You know,
forget him.
We'll forget him, right? So which is a good point. So just think of, that is one point. You know, I think I mentioned this in one of the radio programs, but it's a very good story, right? Very thought-provoking incident, right? So this person who's working, they're building a building, okay? In downtown, they're building a tall tower. It's 20-storied building. And Mr. John is the supervisor. He's right on top of the 20th story. Everybody follows this?
Yeah.
They're building a building, 20-story building. Mr. John is on the 20th floor, and Mr. Jack is in the ground floor. So Mr. John wants to call Mr. Jack. He wants to call him for something, to tell him some important instruction. He's calling Jack! Jack! He's calling him. Jack cannot hear because there's so much of cars going, there is banging away of the hammer, chisel, everything. So Jack cannot hear at all. So what does John do? He does not have anything. So he puts the hand in the pocket, he can't get, finally he takes his wallet. He's saying, oh, what can I have? He doesn't have any credit card or anything that is heavy. So he takes a $50 bill, and he takes that $50 bill, squeezes it, like this, and he throws it from there. It goes like this, like this, like this, like this. It falls just in front of Jack. Jack looks down. Oh, looks around. I deserve it. He puts it in his pocket, right? So Mr. John is still upset. I'm trying to call him. I threw this money. He didn't respond at all. So what he does, he's looking around, and then he sees a stone. Okay? So he has no choice. He has to get the attention of Jack. So he takes the stone, and then from there he throws. Luck have it, maybe like Shakibul Hasan, he's a very good fielder, right? Hitting right on the stumps. Right away it hit on his head. But good thing Mr. Jack was wearing a helmet, right? Big sound. At that time, who's that? So is that not our case when we have a problem? God, I have this problem, right? But when all the good things are happening, I deserve it. That's my karma. I deserve good things, right? So one way where we have to go through this problem is so that we can think. I mean, we are not in the level of Kunti Devi where she's praying, give me more calamities, so that I can think of you. But also, mainly our Acharyas teach us that we go through this problem, which is like a slap in the wrist. So Krishna takes care of all the big problems that we are supposed to go through because of our karma, Sanchita, Priyamana karma, Prarabdha karma, all that he takes care of. But he gives a small slap in the wrist, which means a very minor punishment, so that we know that this is not our home. So we have, only when you go through some struggle and suffering, we know that this is not a permanent place for us. Our permanent place is somewhere else, up there. So that is one of the reasons why we go through these problems, so that we realize that this is a temporary place. And Durga, who's Durga? Who's Durga? All of you should know. Durga is the sister of Lord Krishna. So she pokes us with this Adhyatmika, Adi Devika, Adi Bhautika miseries. The Trishul is there.
Yeah.
She's poking us here. You know, again and again we'll have little problems, so that we get purified and we get to know that this is not a place for us to stay. We have to go back home, back to Godhead. So, again, these years are there. Of course, we will have to hear other aspects of this material world as well, but mainly to hear the holy names of the Lord, because it's not different from the Lord. And Lord possesses unlimited wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. Just like it is said, the example is, you know, when iron rod is placed in fire, it actually acquires the potency of the fire, right? So have you ever placed an iron rod in a fire, or Mataji's cook, right? When you place this vessel, at the bottom it becomes so red, just like fire, right? So it has actually the potency of a fire. So similarly, when we get connected with the Lord, then we are protected and we get what is needed for us to progress spiritually. So the second aspect of it is, and as you know, the names of the Lord, we just heard that it is so powerful. One of the most famous pastimes is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. It's in the 6th canto, about the name of the Lord. Anybody? His name starts with A and ends with L.
Yeah.
Ajamil. Yeah. So Ajamil is one of the famous pastimes most of you know, where, you know, in a nutshell, he names his 10th son Narayana. So it's very common. I'm pretty sure this is common in Bangladesh as well, where the names are given to the children in like God's name or great saint's name.
Yeah.
Right? So it's very common. So here he names his 10th son Narayana, and he was a great personality. He was a Brahmin taking care of his parents and everything, but then he fell by the wayside because of bad association. And at the time of his death, the Yamadutas are coming to take him to hell, and at that time he's so scared in seeing these 3 Yamadutas. So the good news is 3 Yamadutas come and 4 Vishnu Dutas come. There's always more Vishnu Dutas than Yamadutas, so it's all good hope for us, okay? So 3 Yamadutas come, they're very ugly, it is said, very, very scary looking. At that time, he's thinking of his son. He's not even thinking of the Lord, he's thinking of his son, and he wants him to be safe. And he calls his name Narayana. And then right away the 4 Vishnu Dutas come, and they say, no, there's a wonderful conversation between the 4 Vishnu Dutas and 3 Yamadutas. No, you cannot take him because he's already chanted the holy name of the Lord. And all, so we learn a lot. So again, the message here is, God's name is so powerful, the saints' names are so powerful, that when we call those names knowingly or unknowingly, Agyanad Adavagyanad Uttama Sloka Namayat Sankirtitam Agam Pumso Dahe Dedo Yatanalaha. So just like fire burns dry grass to ashes, so similarly, the holy names of the Lord will burn our sinful reactions to ashes as well, whether we chant knowingly or unknowingly. So here, unknowingly, he's chanting the name Narayana, and he's saved. It doesn't mean that he went back home, back to Godhead. He's given a second chance. So he goes to Haridwar and then performs devotional service. He offsets, he does all the prayashchitta, and then he goes back home, back to Godhead. So, knowingly or unknowingly chanting the holy names. Again, we are hearing the names of the Lord. We're talking about hearing, right? That's where we started. So when we hear the holy names of the Lord, we will be saved permanently as well. And it's common that even pets are given the name of God or incarnations of the God. Have you heard that? Some of the pets are also given that name, even if they're angry. My brother's name is Krishna. Right? Even if you're angry, when you used to play cricket, again in the theme of cricket, right? So he's bowling a wide to me. Hey, Krishna, put it properly, right? So again, it's not an offense. You're still, knowingly or unknowingly calling the name of Krishna. So there is always benefit for that. So here, there is a burglar who goes to a house. Okay, there is a thief who's going to a house to rob the house. And suddenly, he's trying to steal that big money bundle from there. As he's about to steal that, he's hearing the voice. Jesus is watching you. He froze in his tracks because Jesus is watching you. That's what he heard. So he thought maybe he heard something, but it is not. So again he's trying to carry. Jesus is watching you. So at that time he takes his flashlight and around the house he's shining it. Suddenly he's seeing a parrot. A parrot is there in the corner in a cage, and that is the parrot who's shouting, Jesus is watching you. So this burglar is saying, oh, after all it's a parrot. I thought it was something else, so it's a parrot. Which house owner with this little common sense will name, so he asks him, okay, who are you? He says, my name is Moses. Because some of the parrots are trained to talk, right? So the parrot says, my name is Moses. So this burglar says, which owner with this little common sense would have named you Moses? So this parrot answers, the same owner who named this 150-pound Rottweiler Jesus. See, the Jesus is the name of a dog that is 150 pounds that is waiting there to pounce on him. That's why this parrot gave the warning, Jesus is watching, right? So this is the Rottweiler waiting to bite him. So even the pets are named in God's name because they can knowingly or unknowingly chant the holy names of the Lord. Okay? So the next part of it is, one is the holy names of the Lord which saves us permanently, and the second and most important is when we hear the instructions of the Lord with our ears, then there is no coming back. Now in the next couple of days is a very important event that is happening. Anybody knows from the back end of this room? On Tuesday there is a that's not a fire alarm, right?
No.
So anybody knows what's happening on Tuesday? So tomorrow, I know you told me there is a very important event which is Sunday, but we're talking about Tuesday. So Tuesday, one last chance, anybody in the back?
Tuesday 18th.
18th
of December, something is important. Little more than tomorrow? More important than tomorrow? Can I say that?
Yeah.
So it's the actual 5,155th anniversary of appearance of Bhagavad-Gita. So that was the actual day. Coming Tuesday is the actual day.
Gita Jayanti ki.
Gita Jayanti ki Jai. So that was the day that Lord Krishna last spoke Bhagavad-Gita to Arjuna. So 5,155 years ago. So how do we know it's 5,155? Right? That's a common question. From Mahabharata we know that the battle of Kurukshetra took place in the year 3137 BC. 3137. Now you add 2018 to it. 5,155th anniversary is coming Tuesday. Now, this Bhagavad-Gita, as we know, it is not just for people in Bangladesh or in India, it is for everybody. So because it's very, the message from Bhagavad-Gita is so common that anybody and everybody can use it. It is for rich, poor, old, young, everybody. So not just from one country, for everybody this is applicable. And even though it was last spoken 5,155 years ago, it doesn't mean that it is not applicable today. It is absolutely applicable today, and it will be applicable thousands of years from now on as well. So it's called Bhagavad-Gita. So Bhagavad-Gita means, our Acharya has explained, it's Bhagavan plus the song. It's the song of Bhagavan. So Bhagavad-Gita, so Gita means song, Bhagavat is it's non-different from Bhagavan. So song of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Bhagavad-Gita. So 700 verses, so it is in this Anushtup meter that we can see. Anushtup meter is Patram, Pushpam, Palam, Toyam, like that. So you have these 700 verses which is segregated to us in this 18 chapters, and it is given to us. So but our Acharya has explained that that is not the only time that Bhagavad Gita was spoken. Anybody knows that? Is that the only time Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Lord Krishna? No. Because in Bhagavad-Gita itself, in the first verse of the 4th chapter, Lord Krishna says, by the way, Arjuna, I did speak the same Bhakti Yoga, which is Bhagavad-Gita, 120 million years ago. He doesn't say 120 million years ago, but our Acharya has explained in the purport that it was last spoken before this 5155 years ago. The previous time it was spoken was 120 million years ago. He spoke to Vivaswan, the sun god spoke to his son, Vaivasvatamanu, etc., etc., Ikshvaku, etc. But it somehow fell by the wayside, and then Lord Krishna had to speak again. So, it is also said every day in the day of Lord Brahma, Lord Krishna appears. And Lord Krishna has already told us, or already informed us, that he is speaking to Vivaswan every time, as well as he speaks to Arjuna. Now, Brahma is 51 years old. He lives very long, 311 trillion and 40 billion years, right? So, he's 51 years as of now. So, 51 multiplied by 365 comes to over 18,000 times Bhagavad-Gita is spoken. Okay? But, also Lord Krishna says he spoke to Vivaswan. Every time he comes, he speaks to Vivaswan as well. So, 18,000 multiplied by 2, over 36,000 times Bhagavad Gita has been spoken as of today. Is that
Fascinating, yeah.
resonating with everybody? So the good news is, if you memorize a Bhagavad Gita verse, if you hear Bhagavad Gita, so this is not going to be like our SAP system that we have. You have Microsoft Office where you learn something and after 3-4 years it goes down level, right? They come up with a new version. Oh, it's totally different from the old version. So what do? You have to relearn everything. But the good news is Bhagavad Gita never changes. So Neha Vikrama Nasosti Pratyavayuna Vidyate. So Krishna says 2.40 or 2.41, where Krishna says there is no loss or diminution in this. So we will continue where we left off. So if you memorize Bhagavad Gita verses, for example, it will come to you later on in this life or next life as well.
And also at the time of death, if you remember that.
Yeah, so we just, so this 8.5, Bhagavad Gita 8.5. Antakale cha mameva smaran mukva kalevaram yat prayadi samatbhavam yati nasyastra samsayah. At the time of death, if you think of me, Lord Krishna says, you will come to me. So if you are able to think of any of the verses that Lord Krishna spoke at the time of death, then there is no coming back as well. So this Bhagavad Gita again, it was spoken, it's been spoken how many times so far? Approximately?
36,000.
Over 36,000 times it's been spoken. And it was spoken how long? Anybody knows how long approximately? I mean, we were not there, but do you know how
45
long?
minutes.
Yeah, about 45 minutes. It took about 45 minutes. That's what our Acharya has explained for Lord Krishna to speak the entire Bhagavad Gita. Now on Tuesday, we request all of you to come to ISKCON Scarborough or to ISKCON Toronto, any other temples that you can go to, because what we do is, year after year, we read all the 700 verses. We read. But the good news is we read the English version. So all of you can participate in that. So it's not, tough Sanskrit, but Sanskrit also, there is transliteration. So it's easy when you read the English. It's patram means it's not written in Sanskrit. It's written P-A-T-R-A-M. So when you read the English, you're actually pronouncing the Sanskrit, right? But we are going to read the English translation. We'll put it in a PowerPoint presentation so that it goes very quickly, but still we'll not be able to read it we cannot recite it in 45 minutes. It takes about 2.5 hours to do that. So it's also a wonderful, wonderful, important Ekadasi on that day. So we'll have wonderful Ekadasi prasadam served out to everybody on that day as well. Moksha the Ekadasi. So keep that in mind. If you're unable to come to any of the temples, if you can read it at your home, that will be great. Even if you're not able to read all 700, please read some of the verses on Tuesday. And try not to eat any grains or rice, or puri and chapatis and noodles and everything on that one day. On the Tuesday, try not to eat that. If you want to, we can always eat fruits and roots, milk and all those things you can have, but try to avoid. That is a sacrifice, and it is also a prayashchitta. When we fast or control our hunger or control our tongue, it is a prayashchitta. Prayashchitta means it's an atonement for any of the sins that we may have knowingly or unknowingly committed in the past. Okay, so on Tuesday, if we can do that, that will be great. So we will wrap this up with just a very, very, very quick summary of what is there. How many of you in the back there, you've heard some of the verses from Bhagavad-Gita? I don't see a very affirmative yes, but it's okay. It's okay. It's a very small book. It is part of Mahabharata, and just a summary. In the second, we're not going to go through verse by verse or anything like that. But in the second chapter, Lord Krishna, that's when Lord Krishna starts talking. First chapter is all Arjuna. He's giving pravachan. He's telling how he will not fight. But from second chapter, Lord Krishna starts speaking, and then there is this conversation between Lord Krishna and Arjuna. And out of 700 verses, 575 verses were spoken by Lord Krishna, 83 verses by Arjuna, 41 by Sanjaya, and only one by Dhritarashtra, which is the very first verse, right?
Yeah.
So it's the breakdown of the conversation. So why is it still called Bhagavad-Gita? You may ask, oh Prabhu, sometime back you said Bhagavan plus Gita, the song of God. But also we have this conversation by other personalities like, Dhritarashtra, Sanjaya and Arjuna. All that is integral part of Bhagavad-Gita. Those questions that they are asking and the questions by Arjuna and the answers that Lord Krishna gives is all part of this Bhagavad-Gita. So it's part of Mahabharata. And in the second chapter, Lord Krishna says, we are not the body. The whole of second chapter is how we are not the body. So it is, we are the spirit soul that is encaged, like a bird in the cage. Like we are encaged in this physical body. And Lord Krishna says, don't get too attached to the body. Just like when we get too attached to a car, beautiful car with all the extra fittings in the car, and somebody puts a scratch. You park it in Walmart, right? Somebody opens the door, and then what happens? The door scratches the side of your door, right? Oh, we are distraught, right? So like that, when we get too attached to our body, then we will go through unnecessary problems. We will get dejected, we'll have problems with our mind as well. So that's basically what Krishna says. Don't get too attached to the body, because you're not the body. You're the passenger sitting inside the car. You're not the car. Okay? We take good care of our body. Whatever we need to do, we take good care, but you're the bird in the cage. You're not the cage, right? So you are somebody who's inside. So you can think about it like, now I have the body, my bare body is the soul, and I have one shirt that is on top, and that is the subtle body, mind, intelligence and false ego. And outside that, if I wear one more jacket, which I was wearing, that is the physical body, earth, water, fire, air and ether. So everybody follows?
Yeah.
Especially, so Krishna explains where, in the 7th chapter, where he's explaining more, like the soul is here, which is covered by the subtle body, mind, intelligence and false ego. And then this gross body is there, earth, water, fire, air and ether. Okay? So you are here, so don't worry about what is happening. And Lord Krishna keeps giving us wonderful instruction, which is applicable at all times to all of us. In the 3rd chapter, he says, Yajñāśistā sinas santo. So if you eat food that you cook for yourself without offering it to me, then you are verily eating the sin. So this is an instruction for all of us, right? So anytime you cook the food, please offer it to Krishna before you eat them. So that is an important instruction Lord Krishna is giving. And every chapter is giving wonderful instructions, but we're going to just stop with one. In the 6th chapter, Lord Krishna says, Uddared Atman Atmanam Atmanam Avasade. So with your mind, your mind is your friend as well as the foe. That is, your mind is the friend as well as the enemy. Just like you take a knife, right? A sword. The sword or the knife can be used to
Oh my God.
kill somebody, but the same sort of knife can be used by the doctors to take the cancer out. It will save the patient as well. So the knife can be used to kill somebody, but at the same time it can be used to save somebody.
And also you can cut some apple for Krishna.
Yeah, you can offer wonderful apple and fruits to Krishna as well. So the knife can be used for both. Similarly, the mind can be used in good ways and bad ways. Just like the internet, right? So we have an iPad, internet is there. Internet can be used for many bad things, right? We can easily know how to make a bomb and everything else. But at the same time, you have the entire Veda base. All the Vedic scriptures are there in your fingertips also, right? So similarly, Lord Krishna says your mind is the friend and a foe. But if you're able to control the mind becomes your friend. If the mind is controllable, then the mind is your enemy. So all these wonderful instructions are there. We can take more instruction. We can always read Bhagavad-Gita, especially this coming Tuesday. Please come to one of the temples and join us. We need the association when we are reading this Bhagavad-Gita together. There is in unison, we'll chant those verses and we will be able to understand. Bring a small notebook with you, because suddenly some inspiration will come as you're reading the translation for some of the verses. And I can tell you, it will always happen. Every year, year after year, you will take wonderful notes that will be motivating and inspiring for each one of you. So again, just to summarize, we started off by saying how we have many senses, and out of the senses we have 2 ears and only one mouth for a good reason. We have to hear more than talk. And then hearing, in material life, some of the words have got very potent words are there, like fire and poison and snake and everything. So even material words have got so much power. What to speak of spiritual words, like the names of the Lord. And why names of God are more powerful? It's because it's non-different by from the Supreme Personality of Godhead as well. And when we chant the holy name, we are directly connecting with the Lord, who's got unlimited wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. So with the ears, spiritually we hear the holy names of the Lord. Lord has got unlimited names. And the second way we can benefit by going back home, back to God, and putting an end to all our miseries, is to hear the instructions of the Lord, which is there in Bhagavad-Gita, pastimes of the Lord, which is there in Srimad Bhagavatam.
And also Krishna says, Masana Margashisha.
Yeah, so Krishna says, Masana Margashirshoham. So Lord Krishna says that amongst all the months, he is Margashirsha, which is this month. So this is a very auspicious month, and previous month was another auspicious month, which is the month of Damodara Kartik. That is the month of Srimati Radharani, and this is the month of Lord Krishna. So who's first? Always Srimati Radharani. First, then only Krishna. We say Hare Krishna, right? We don't say Krishna Hare, right? We say Hare Rama. So, we say Srimati Radharani first and then Krishna. So when we say Radha Gopi Vallabha, we don't say Gopi Vallabha Radha. We don't say Rama Sita, Sita Rama. We say Lakshmi Narsimha. So always we say Sita's name first before Rama's, etc. So again, we have to make use of our ears that we have to hear the holy names of the Lord, to hear the messages of the Lord through this Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, so all of us can benefit and put an end to this material life and go back home, back to Godhead permanently. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So we can take a couple of questions, especially for the devotees who are in the back, based on what we spoke today. Any questions? It's either very, very clear, everybody understood, or nothing was understood.
Or may not like to ask questions.
Yeah, so all questions are good questions, right?
You explained very simply, so we understood.
That's good.
Still we'll take 1 or 2 questions. Maybe there is 1 or 2 questions. We'll all learn from your questions. So if there is no questions from the back, there will be, it is said, whether the sun rises in the east or not, Pitambara Das Prabhu's hand will raise.
See, he knew. Such a predictable. So Prabhu, I was thinking on this question that you said Antakalacha, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is assured that if somebody takes my name at the time of death, the final moments of life, I would for sure, save him, give him liberation. But we all know that in the final moments of death, there is a lot of pain, like 1,000 scorpions, biting you all at the same time. So how can how can a person be expected to remember Lord Krishna's name when he is in such a pain? And that's the exact crucial time when he should be remembering Lord Krishna.
Yeah, everybody heard the question. So, how can Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita 8.5, Antakale Chamameva, at the time of death, if one thinks of me, you will surely come to me. No more birth and death. So the question is, especially when somebody is dying, and this is a known death, that means people know that he's dying, and he himself knows he's in the hospital, his days are numbered. So that is an example. So he knows he's going to die. So there is a slightly better chance of him remembering, even though from your standpoint, the question is, yeah, he's really struggling. So we have King Kulashekar Alvar also praying, right? Krishna Tvadiya Pada Pankaja Pancharanta Madhyaya Vishatuman. So he's saying, Krishna, how can I remember you at the time of death when my throat is with so much of bile, mucus and everything else? So now I'm very fit, I can think of you. So why don't I come to you right now? So why don't I leave my body right now? Because I'm able to think, right? Is that not a good option for all of us?
Yes.
Because Krishna has given a guarantee. If you think of me at the time of death, you will come back to me. So he's saying, I can think of you now. At the time of death, as you mentioned, it's so difficult to, so I want to die right now. So that's the prayer of great Kulashekar Alvar. He's one of the 12 Alvars. So there is one quote from Ramanujacharya. So Lord himself says that if you are a devotee, do not worry, even if you are not able to think of the Lord at the time of death, the Lord will take you back home, back to God. And in other parts of South India. So he said that even if you are not able to think of Lord at the time of death, Lord will come and take you where you need to go. Okay, so that is the confidence that is given to each one of us. And this is an example that you mentioned about somebody who knows he is dying, his days are numbered. So there is a slight chance for him to think of Lord, even though there may be bile, mucus, etc. The most fortunate person, as we know, is who heard Srimad Bhagavatam 7 days and 7 nights? Maharaj Parikshit, because he knew that he is going to die in 7 days. None of us know when we are going to die. So we may always think, let me worry about it later on, right? We procrastinate, right? Like King Katwanga was there. We hear his pastime where he's helping the demigods, and the demigods ask him, please ask us whatever you want. He says, how much longer I will live when am I going to die? They say in a moment, but this is in the moment in the higher planetary system. So he comes back to earth and immediately practices devotional service, and he goes back home, back to God, right? So Maharaj Parikshit is fortunate. Some of the patients who are terminally ill are also fortunate because they know when they are going to die. But none of us know. We may be facing death tomorrow. We don't know that. But because we are confident, we are overconfident, we take it more easily, right? But for people who are about to die, they are more fortunate if they know Bhagavad-Gita and if they know this 8.5 verse. So the message that our acharyas give us is that we don't know when we are going to die, but Lord Krishna says, Antaka, at the time of death, when you think of me, you will come to me. So you always try to think of Lord Krishna at all times, because when you're happily driving, some accident may take place, right? So anything can happen. We'll close this with, hopefully I answered that question. So we'll close with one thing. So you also mentioned some time back about karma.
That's right.
And I also want to reiterate that death can happen at any time to any one of us, right? So in a desert, this person was going on a camel's back. Okay? In a desert, 50 miles he has to cross. So he's got water and everything to cross. The camel is nicely, fed and everything. So he's going across this desert, and they found him dead. They found this person dead, fallen in this hot sand, and they were wondering, how did he die? Because it's not of dehydration or anything else. There's no animals there, nothing, just the camel and sand, that's it. Because no snakes or anything can be there to bite, but he's also traveling riding on a camel. They found out that this person on the camel was bitten by a cobra. Now, it's impossible for cobra to be alive in that plus 55 degrees Celsius. And with that humidity and everything, there's no way cobra can survive. There is no bush, nothing. There is no water, nothing. But they found out that he's got the bite of a cobra and he got this poison and he died. And they found this cobra, many miles away, dead as well. So they were able to confirm that this person died because of a cobra. But it was impossible for cobra to be in that desert. As I said, 50 miles, there's nothing, no vegetation, nothing. Then they found out that there was this eagle which had caught this cobra miles away, and this eagle is carrying this cobra across this desert to feed his children. So in the talons, this cobra is there, and halfway, as he was flying, somehow this cobra slipped and this snake fell. Now what are the chances? Anytime anything can happen, we're talking. So far, almost a mile high, and in the way, we again go back to cricket, right? Swinging, aerodynamics of a cricket ball, right? You have a seam and then wind is blowing, it'll go this way. So here this cobra is coming, and what are the chances of the cobra falling right on his neck with the head of the cobra down? It could be the tail is coming first, right? Or it could have landed 1 inch away from him. So if he had to die, he had to die. So he died of a cobra bite in a desert where no cobra can survive. So again, that is to reiterate that death can happen at any time to each one of us, and if our karmic reaction is that we need to die, we will have to die. So I'm going to wrap this up with one.
And one more question on it. So you said in your lecture that so whatever food we cook, we have to offer to Krishna, otherwise we are eating our sins, yes?
Krishna said in Bhagavad-Gita 3.13, Yajna-shista-sina-santa. Yeah.
So how the people, normal people can offer this food? So cook it, and how can you explain this?
So asking a very good question on behalf of everybody. Prabhu knows that because he does that every day. So he's asking, Prabhu asks, how can anybody follow that instruction that Lord Krishna is saying?
Sin, yes?
Yeah, so Krishna is saying, if you cook and eat without offering to me. So he's very clear in that. If you cook and eat without offering to me, you verily means confirmed you're eating sin. However, if you offer it to me and eat, then your sinful reactions go away. Very simple. Krishna always says what to do and what not to do. Machitta sarva durgani mat prasadat tarishasi. 18.58 Lord Krishna says, if you think of me, you will be able to cross the hurdles of material life. However, if you don't think of me, right? So the opposite happens, right? Katanchana smrite yashmin dushkaram sukaram bhava. So here it is said, if all the most difficult things in our life will become very easy if you just remember Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All the most difficult things, just by thinking of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everything becomes very easy. However, the opposite, if you don't think of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even the easiest thing will become the most difficult. So what to do, what not to do is there in most of the verses. So in this particular verse, Lord Krishna says, if you cook, offer it to me and eat. So simple, right? Is that easier to do? For all the devotees who may have not heard this verse. So Krishna is saying, if you cook, especially when you're really hungry, you cook and you're really hungry, at that time just wait for 2 minutes. Just wait for 2 minutes. Krishna doesn't say starve. And Krishna, when you offer it to him, he's not going to eat everything and give you the empty plate, right? He's so merciful. He eats with the eyes, right? So he eats with the eyes. That means the food is still left there. And when we offer and we eat, we also all know that the taste is so good, right? So, especially when we are so hungry, hold back, offer it to Krishna. You just have a small picture of Krishna. Even if you don't have a picture of Krishna, just in your mind, because this mind worship is bona fide. We hear that from the longest purport in Srimad Bhagavatam in the 7th canto, with the 9 forms of devotional services there. So in that 9 forms of devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Mandram, Dasim, Sakyam, Atman, in that particular verse, the purport of that particular verse is the longest in whole of Srimad Bhagavatam. There is a story that Srila Prabhupada quotes there. So he says about this Manasha worship. So one poor man, he is walking along Godavari river and some Brahmanas are talking and they say, you can offer things to Krishna in your mind. So he comes back and he starts thinking of all the wonderful things. He cannot afford to even buy a shirt and he's thinking, okay, I have this golden plate. and I have these golden cups. Let me make the most opulent milk cake for Krishna. So he's mentally, in the mind, he's thinking of all the wonderful things, and he's keeping Ganges water, everything in the mind. And he's offering to Krishna. He makes sweet rice, and then at that time he puts his finger in the sweet rice, and he felt it's so hot, and he does like this, and at that time Lord Vishnu is smiling, and Goddess of Fortune is asking, why are you smiling? And then Vishnu sends the Vishnu Dutas, go and bring him, he's going to come back home, back to Godhead, just by offering it in the mind. So it is it's a bona fide way to worship. So even if you don't have, in this case you don't have Krishna, but Krishna is there everywhere, right? So even if you think of Lord Krishna and you offer it before you, especially you get more spiritual credits when you're more hungry. You want to eat, no, I want to hold back and offer it to Krishna, and then you get the benefit. So this is the most practical verse that Lord Krishna gives. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Question.
Do I have to come to Lord's picture or statue, or can I pray Krishna on my dining table or wherever I'm sitting down with my plate? Can I say?
Yeah, absolutely. So
And then can I, after I eat, is it okay?
after you eat,
Like no. Then I offer to Krishna.
without
and then,
the picture,
Without the picture, anywhere, not
Yeah.
to the room, not nothing. Wherever I am,
Yeah.
I prepare my food in the plate,
Yes.
and then I took it, and offer it, and
Yeah.
then I have it. Is it okay?
it's absolutely okay.
And in the glass
first
of water.
first prize is we take it, we have a nice altar. You know, they say gold medal, silver medal, bronze medal, right? So first prize is we offer it the way that our acharyas explain. So we go to the deity room, we offer, we do our mantras, and then wait for 10 minutes and then go take it. That's first prize. But we heard from this pastime, even in our mind it's okay, because in the night what do? Kayena vacha manasendriyatva buddhyatmana va vanusaswati. We say, whatever I've done today, it is for your pleasure. So in the mind when you do so, even if you don't go to the altar or you forgot and you cook before you eat, you say, Krishna, I'm offering it to you, and then you eat, of course. And Krishna doesn't say, oh, who can offer to me? It's only people who are second initiated in ISKCON, or, there is no prerequisite here, right? So there is no prerequisite. So all of us are qualified to offer things to Krishna. Okay, so very good question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Is that anything can offer?
So another good question, can we offer anything? So Krishna is Bhava-Grahi Janardana. So Bhava means what? Mood, right? So Bhava-Grahi Janardana. So we have many pastimes where Vidura's wife is offering. What did she offer? She's got a banana here. She's seeing the beauty of Lord Krishna. She's peeling the banana, and she's giving the banana peel, and she's throwing the banana into the garbage, right? And Krishna is eating the banana peel. Right, we know, in Lord Ram's pastime as well, where this aborigine, she's eating half of this fruit, and she's giving, after she's eating, she's tasting it, whether it's good or not. Oh, it is good, I want to give it to Lord Ram. He loved it, right? So he's Bhava-Grahi Janardana. So what
She is looking for the pure love from the devotees, yes?
Yeah, so Duryodhana was actually offering all the wonderful things for Lord Krishna, but he didn't have that love and devotion. Lord Krishna said, no, I'm not going to eat here. I have to go to Vidura's house, and he ate the banana peel, right? So what can we offer to Lord Krishna? Not that we want to offer banana peel, right? So Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam. The very basic thing Krishna says in 9.26, if you offer with love and devotion, it's like, how can we have some food without spices and salt, right? So that is what Krishna wants, the spices and salt, which adds this taste, is the love and devotion that Lord Krishna wants. So Krishna says you offer leaf, flower, fruit or water, but the most important thing is, so then why are we offering rice? That's a question, right? Why do we have to offer rice and sabji and everything? So we have to go beyond Bhagavad-Gita. So Bhagavad-Gita was spoken in 45 minutes. It's the headlines, okay? It's the theory. It's a theory. Practical is Srimad Bhagavatam. So Krishna says, surrender to me. How do you know how to surrender? See how Draupadi surrendered. See how Gajendra, the elephant, surrendered. So this is theory, that is practical, right? So to answer the question, what can we answer? In Govardhan Leela, in the 10th canto, Lord Krishna explains what should be offered to Govardhan, which is Lord Krishna, because he assumed the form of Govardhan. He says, make me rice cakes, wonderful soup, all that he's telling. And again, you go to Chaitanya Charitamrita, we have Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who's actually offering amazing ingredients to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's Lord Krishna himself. Saag, the greens and everything. So, bona fide things to offer to Lord Krishna are what we read from the pastimes of Lord Krishna, what Mother Yasoda was feeding Lord Krishna, what Lord Krishna instructed all of us in this Govardhan Leela to offer to Govardhan, what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was offered by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya.
What
Then
Chaitanya
we get to
Mahaprabhu
know.
was eating,
Yeah, so those are the things that we offer. So, does that answer your question partially or fully? Are you looking for more?
No.
He's looking for more.
Probably
Looking for
partially, because
Yeah.
what he was asking is what are the items we can offer.
So the
Can
items
we-
are very specific.
Can we offer everything and anything?
Okay, so I think,
we need to distinguish this.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes, so maybe we'll hold that. So to answer in a nutshell is, please offer vegetarian food to
Yes,
Lord Krishna.
yes.
Okay, so Krishna is a lover of cows. Everywhere we see in this pastime where Mother Yasoda is feeding Lord Krishna, or his friends are giving the food to Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna is eating yogurt rice. He's got pickles, eating with pickle mixed with yogurt rice. Those are the things that he eats. And in this Govardhan Leela, this opulent food, all vegetarian. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is offering all vegetarian food to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
We are the community. We are most of the people non-veg.
Mhm.
So we most of the day of the week we eat non-veg food. So how it is possible to offer to Lord Krishna? Say we have a plate, we have some vegetarian food, some non-veg food. So is this the way that okay, I'm gonna get some rice and some vegetable and then offer, and then later I'm gonna eat the non-veg food?
Yeah, so it's difficult for people who are used to eating meat to quit like that. We all understand that. So when Srila Prabhupada came to the West, everybody was, eating everything and doing everything. So that there was no prerequisite. Srila Prabhupada didn't say, oh, you're eating meat so you cannot worship Krishna. You're drinking, you cannot worship Krishna. No. So he said, when you get the higher taste, param drisva nivartate. So when you get the higher taste, you get a distaste for other things. Follow? When you get a higher taste, you get a distaste for other things. So when I was a little boy, I used to like this lollipop a lot, right? Lollipop. Most of us love lollipop. So you eat the lollipop, but when I'm 30 years old, 35 years old, I've already tasted gulab jamun, right? Gulab jamun is higher taste than this lollipop, right? So I don't have this taste for lollipop anymore. So that is how when the devotees started chanting, performing devotional service, associating with devotees, and they get to know. So the most important thing is, people need to know how to cook vegetarian dishes, because it's so many varieties are there that people who are eating meat, they don't miss meat at all, because there is so much of varieties in vegetarian. But then again, the key is for them to know how to cook that, but there is so much of variety. To answer your question, one is devotees offer, again Krishna says, fruit, flower, leaf or water, right? So the starting point is you can offer fruit, flower, tulasi leaf and water to Lord Krishna. Right? With love and devotion you can offer, and slowly you will get the distaste for things that are not recommended in the scriptures. So slowly we will get that. But to offer, you can offer what Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita 9.26.
If you cook,
Does that answer your question, Prabhu?
if you cooked rice and vegetable, just offer to the Krishna, yes.
Yeah.
And then you eat it, yes.
Yeah,
It's
so-
like if your room is dark, then you switch on the light, and the darkness will go.
Yes.
So that slowly, that's the way we have to offer.
Yeah, that is the most of the people we are in the community have the problem. The non-veg people are very few people, so
Not only your community,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
community also is, that, but
no, it's
So
traditionally in Hindu, in Indian subcontinent, the Bengali people, they are less the vegetarian people, other than any state.
Yes. No, even Srila Prabhupada mentioned, right, like in West Bengal, they eat a lot of Brahmins eat fish. Right? So it's very common
Yeah,
to
very
eat
common.
fish as well. So again, there is no disqualification to worship Lord Krishna. There is never a disqualification. So it is always what we can offer with love and devotion. Any vegetarian that you can offer to Lord Krishna, fruit is flower, all that is always. So we can offer to Lord Krishna, and in due course of time, you will get that higher taste. So does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. So I think it's time, so it's almost 9 o'clock. So if there are no other questions, again, we'd like to thank you for your time, and we are very, very grateful to our host as well as to Amal Thakur Prabhu and all the wonderful devotees who are gathered here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Namo Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parvatacharya Abhicharnavenda Bhaktivedanta Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Kishore Babaji Das Maharaj ki jai. Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Adas Thakur ki jai. Vamsikao Sri Krishna Chaitanya Brahmanidhananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Radha Krishna Gopi Govinda Swami Guru Govindari ki jai. Vrindavan Dhame ki jai. Nauti Vidhame ki jai. Jagannath Puri Madhurapuri Dwaraka Dhame की जय, गंगा देवी की जय, भक्त देवी की जय, तुलसीमानी की जय, Jai Gaura Premanande, Swami Veda Bhakta Vranda ki jai, Jai Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Everyone, Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prastaya, Bhutale, Srimate, Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Prachari, Nirvishesha Sunyavadi. Shri Radha Gopi Vallabha ki jai, Jai Gaura Premanande.
We came one time here. Yes, it's like.
Everyone, please sing along or repeat after me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
What a wonderful. So, yeah, wonderful song.
Thank
you
you.
very much. So
Thank
nice
you
of-
for coming and listening.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. Can I just have one of the?
Sure, Mike.
Thank you. Very much. What's your name, Mama?
Shukriya.
Shukriya. Okay, I think all of us enjoyed wonderful kirtan from Shukriya Mataji.
Once again,
On behalf of ISKCON Scarborough, I'd like to thank His Grace Ajay Prabhu and Mataji, also Shukriya Mataji, every one of you, and all of the wonderful devotees today gathered here. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your wonderful time and association. You have given us the most valuable part of your life. And what is that? That's your time. Part of your life. We can give money, we can give anything, but time, that when you die, you can't extend even for 1 second. We gave that time for the Lord. We are very grateful to all of you. Prabhu in his lecture, he said that 18th of December is a very important day. All of you know that. So we'll start our program of Gita Jayanti exactly at 6:30.
PM.
6:30 p.m. Keeping in mind that that's the weekday. We have work next day. So we'll try to finish by 9:30. So 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, we'll finish reading. And then within half an hour or 1 hour, we'll give the prasad and everything. We'll come back home at 9:30. So you can go to your office next.
We are located at
And we're located,
3005.
thank you, at 3500 McNichol Avenue, unit number 3, at the intersection of McNichol and Markham. It's not far from here. You can also check our website, ISKCON If you don't know anything, forget everything, just write ISKCON Scarborough, the Google will give you the address and everything. And please give your association again. We are waiting, and with our humble heart, we like to see you in our temple. Our program is every Sunday from 10:30 till 2 o'clock. So please give your association again. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
And we also
Correct.
have some mantra cards, meditation
Very
cards.
good. Yeah.
So if anyone wants, they can
Yeah.
have some, so please.
If anyone wants to have, I know that you know, especially I'm from Bangladesh. So I know every house we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra knowingly or unknowingly, Prabhu. Now we know that even we chant unknowingly, same effect. So we have some mantra cards. If anyone wants, you can take it. And also I have some
Distribute all those people.
Very good. I also have a few copies of Bhagavad-Gita with me. If you want to get it, I can give it to you with small donation. Whatever you want to give to the temple, we have some Bhagavad-Gita.
Is that English or Bengali?
It's English actually. We don't have Bengali at this point.
You're getting Bengali.
We are getting Bengali Bhagavad-Gita is coming, and as you know, last year, ISKCON Scarborough actually gave about 200 or more than 200 Bhagavad-Gita among our community. Like we went to different temples, and it was sponsored by some Bangladeshi people. This year we are arranging, and we also already ordered some Bengali Bhagavad-Gitas, and it's about 200. And once it's here, we'll give it to Bangladeshi people. And by the way, those Bhagavad-Gita will be free. But today I have some Bhagavad-Gita from temple. If anyone wants in English version, you can have it.
Especially if they can't come to the temple to read the
Yes.
verses on Tuesday, they can take it and they can read it.
Yeah, you can take it home, read it there. I have some copies. If you want, just let me know. I'll give it to you.
And if they need more cards, then
Yeah.
Papa will bring it more.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll give it.
Same cards.
Thank you, everyone. And on behalf of all of us, we'd like to thank Supriya Mataji again for a wonderful time.
Thank you.
Your wonderful kirtan. Thank you very much, Mataji.
And also Ananda Gauranga Prabhu for the wonderful
Mention.
Yes, that's in our heart, and everyone wants to thank Ananda Gauranga Prabhu for giving a wonderful class in very simple way. And I hope and I believe strongly all of you will take something in a house, especially who said, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, knowingly or unknowingly, it will give you something. And it will take you all the miseries in this life, and there is no loss, and even after death. You go back. So that's a wonderful message Prabhu gave, and Prabhu's class is always very attractive, and all of you know. And today, all of you know. And please, Prabhu is giving class on tomorrow actually at the temple. and the class is on the universal form of Krishna in Bengali, Sri Krishna Vishwarup Darshan. So he will give the class in multimedia presentation. He will come tomorrow at 10:30 and at 3500 Macnicol Avenue, unit number 3. And Prabhu, most of the time he is not in Canada for his work-related travel. He has to be outside the country. This is the country he comes. Sometimes he stays here. He goes outside. So tomorrow he is here. He is giving the classes. Hope we'll get you. Thank you again. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
We have to thank Amarthakur Prabhu for wonderful efforts for,
Don't thank me for it.
One of these people together. Thank you very much for
Mahaprasade Govinde,
Mahaprasade Govinde,
Namo Brahmane Vaishnave,
Namo Brahmana Vaishnave,
Sarva Punyam Raptam Rajan, Vishwaso Naiva Jayate, Garira Avidyajal, Jyotindriya Tahekal, Jiva Phale Visesagare, Dana Matya Jivati, Lobo Moy Sudurmati, Takajita Kathina Sansare, Krishna Bado Dayamoy, Hori Bharo Jiva Jai, Mahaprasadana Digovai, Sri Anna Murtapao, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gunagao, Preme Dako Sri Chaitanya Nitai, Jai Nimai Jai Nitai, Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Everybody, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sri Radha Gopi Vallabh Mahaprasadam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank God Premanande.
Hare Hare.